us. And we are here not to find guilty for any of the parts. We are here to find solutions. That's our main goal here. And what I like the most in IOC, that you made a really huge legacy across the world, making all the countries working together with synergy, making better the cities, the countries where you pass. So you have a really huge legacy. And now, with this nation at risk, we just start to think what's going to happen. And I truly believe that we can choose today to celebrate the spirit of the Olympics and saving a country, making history, or we can choose to let the Christian sports die. I definitely choose the first. And what about you?
Thank you for sharing that. Before moving on to this discussion, I would like to rephrase what you have said. So, we had a situation before there was an agreement on some conditions under the Olympic Games about equestrian sports and maintenance of the horses. And after this, in the 6 months after, happened a few situations on horses. There were a few loss of horses for me in this situation. And in here, we would like to discuss about some situations about this loss, about your presence on the next Olympics. And both of you recognize some situations like the legacy of Hippica and the importance of the Olympics to the equestrian sports. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so in order for us to facilitate this communication, I would like to propose you to compose an agenda together to resolve this conflict. So in here, I'm going to write on this board what you like to talk about during this mediation procedure for us to settle an agreement with an easier way. Please feel free to share what you like to be discussed during this procedure.
Thank you so much, Leonardo. I think for us, as Gabriel has well explained, our horses' health is the priority. So it's definitely one point that, in our opinion, should be at the agenda. Camila, Francisco, are you okay with it?
Yes, of course, we can discuss it.
Thank you for my, I'm sorry for my handwriting, this is not that good.
It's fine. And also another issue, I do believe it's a minor issue, but there's still unpaid debt that the delegation of IFTA is, we still owe you some money. We're not running from the responsibility, so we're open to discuss that also. So it's the debt. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you for addressing. We were just about to do so, but there's another thing we would like to add, which is the responsibility and the reasons why the horses got sick. So we need to know the causes and everything that is going on.
Clarification on the horses?
Yes, clarification would be the best way.
I definitely agree. Just a suggestion, I don't know if you're okay with it. It could be perhaps a subtopic of horses' health.
Yes, sure.
So we can discuss it together. I think it's... Gabriel, are you okay?
Yes, it's perfect. Actually, from one last bullet, or maybe one of the other topics, it's about relationship, because it's, for us it's really important, especially because we're trying to look in the long term, despite all these urgent matters for now.
As Francisco addressed, it is very important for us to have you with us for all the next games. So it is definitely a point to be discussed in here. Thank you.
Would you like to add anything else? Okay, whenever you can add into this list, you can remove it, feel very comfortable with that.
Before I start the discussion about the topics, may I say something here? Well, while Daniel and Gabriel were speaking, I wrote down some topics that I identify like common interests here. You mentioned, Daniel, the Olympic spirit. That's why we are here. And like I said, we care about the Olympics, what happens before, during, and after the Olympics. We want to unite peoples around the world. That's our main interest here, and we want you to make it with us. You spoke about Western sports. They are important for you. We really recognize that. That's why we're here, sitting with you, trying to set an agreement, trying to make you feel comfortable about it. And we are trying to find solutions here. Let's make it together. We are open to that.
Thank you for sharing your comprehension.
So, Leonardo, maybe going to the first topic and about the horses health. It's a little bit uncomfortable to always get back to this matter, but I don't see another way to try doing so. So I still have to talk about reports. I'm trying to figure out why my horses are getting sick and what's really going on. And I do really more information about the reports to understand exactly the conditions of the Olympics. And for what I'm saying, we're not telling that the Olympics could be the only one cause of this problem, but we definitely need to understand. Do you have any other information regarding the report?
Well, all the information we have, we believe you have access to. We follow all the rules established to make these Olympics happen. So what are you mentioning? I believe you have all the reports and everything.
Yes, in this case, what I'm trying to understand is if you have any new information of the public health or for international communities, because we don't have all the details of the reports. Okay. So that's what we're trying to understand. If you have any new information that could help us to understand the causes, or at least to eliminate the possibility that the Olympics was the cause of the disease in our horses.
Okay, so just to clarify the parameters in here, you have said that you had a past agreement under the situation. I would like to know a little bit more about that for us to understand better what is happening and what are the criteria on the situation, please.
Well, Leonardo, the agreement was we've had mediation sessions and we've come to some agreements at the time of the Olympic Games. We had access to a report that said the conditions were safe in the Olympic Games. But as I explained, it doesn't seem to be the case now because 3 horses have died and 3 others are very sick. So we need to understand a little bit more. We need more information on this report because we do not have access to it. That's what Gabriel was trying to explain. If you could please address this issue.
Just to add, actually, we didn't know that they were safe, and then we trust in what was happening. But actually, we don't know exactly how they were safe. We don't know the specifics of the report. We don't know from what they were safe. We just took it as a safe in overall situation. So we want to go deep in this report to understand exactly what's the scenario that we are working.
Okay.
Well, we are 6 months after the Olympics. I would like to consider at some point here that you have participated in other competitions after the Olympic Games. I believe I'm not trying to offend you or nothing like that, but we need to consider that you participated in other events, and in the past meeting we talked about a sick horse that came 1 week after participating in the Olympic Games. He got sick, and is this horse one of those horses or dead? I thought it was good.
Okay, of course, and you're right in this matter. Actually, we did not participate in other competitions, and there are some possibilities. What we're trying to understand here is the first possibility, that was something that happened on the Olympic Games. So if you could help us to understand exactly if you have more information, or do you have something that could guarantee me, how could I eliminate the chance that the disease came from the Olympic Games? And then I'm totally open to discuss about the other competitions, because of course we did participate of them. I just like a problem-solving approach. I'm looking for the first possibility. I'm trying to erase them. Actually, because you mentioned in the beginning that it's not possible that the disease it's coming from the Olympic Games. Actually, some disease just appear months later. So there's not an assumption that we could follow with them. So that's why I'm trying to erase the chance that this came from the Olympic Games.
Yes, we really need to consider that, but we have a point here to diminish a lot this possibility, is that no other horse got sick from the Olympics, no other horse passed out, so that's an important topic. If you want to know the specifics about the report, I'm not a specialist. I organized the Olympics, I followed all the rules, my team followed all the rules established by the government from Brazil, and what do you need? Well,
So,
I cannot clarify all the specific points about the report because I'm not a specialist. We even follow the Federação Equestre Internacional rules, which is the biggest entity to tell us what we need to do about the equestrian sports.
okay, so you were saying that you both make clarifications on the situation.
Yes, I understood making the same question. Sorry, I wanted this answer. So, with the information that you have, do you believe that there is a chance that this disease came from the Olympic Games with all the information that you have? I need an answer. If you believe that is possible, or do you think that is not possible? So I would like to understand why.
What do you think?
We cannot answer it for you. We're not a specialist. We really need a report in order to know what is happening with all of the horses. But we are willing to discuss here what, I don't know if you are familiar with these diseases, I believe so, but we can possibly bring options to the table in order to know if it was the case.
So you are saying that in order to move forward in this question, you would like to know as well about some details on this. What you would like to propose something to them? You would like to brainstorm before? Would you like to hear their proposals?
I would like to add that, first of all, we believe that we need a report relating the causes and the situation the horses are, in order to know if there is the possibility they are mentioning. If we know if it happens, we can assure that. And with this report made by an impartial authority, we could move on in this issue.
What do
But
you
we
think
need to
about
know if there is a possibility that the horses got sick during the Olympics, because as we said before, we are 6 months after, and yes, there are some diseases that may appear after some months, but we have had other competitions, and we cannot assume any responsibility before checking all these possibilities.
Okay.
Well,
What do you think about that?
Leonardo, I think my client can further elaborate, but it seems a reasonable option. But I think the thing here, and Leonardo, Camila, Francisco, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we have to deal with uncertainty. We're not certain that it happened in Brazil, but there is a possibility. I think if we agree there's a possibility, then we can work towards something more elaborate. I think that's something that we need to think about. And Leonardo, I think if Camila and Francisco, if you guys are fine with it, we would like to have a quick break just to discuss a little bit of the proposal and how we can move forward, knowing now that there's uncertainty. Uncertainty is a big issue here.
If you feel comfortable with
We are
that?
comfortable. Could we use the same time to speak by ourselves?
Okay. You can have around 5 minutes. Is it good to you?
Okay.
Okay, so we can be back in 5 minutes.
So I think we leave the room. You guys stay here.
I believe it would be better if we both.
All right, agreed.
I send email. Ah, it's true. Yes. Yes, okay. Last much. Can you see it? Okay. I just wanted to be sure that it's okay. You guys can see it? If you go to this Facebook account.
Thank you. So now going back to our main session. I believe you had time to think about what we can do to move forward on this question and to resolve the situation more accordingly. So I'd like to hear about you. What are your proposals? What are your ideas? Please feel free to share if you believe there is idea that might not seem adequate. Please put to the table. This can be a good thing for us in order to get the part to understand and to propose something. If this could bring something new, please feel completely comfortable to share.
Yes, during the break, actually, I would like to say that I really think that this is a collaborative environment, and I'm really comfortable to work on that. And what I want to say is that first we were trying to understand one possibility of the disease. Just to make the things easier, I want to share with you all the other possibilities that we are considering. So we have the Olympics, and then we're gonna discuss later. The other possibility is another competitions. Okay, so there's a chance we don't understand exactly why. We still need reports and experts to do so. And still talking about the Olympics, a new fact that we have to share is that we really need the first report for a strong reason. We had a problem with some vaccinations. All the medicine were stocked in Cuba, and we couldn't receive this medicine at the time. So we had a strong need of good conditions, because our horses were more vulnerable than the average. And we want the details of the report to understand if the specific vaccine that we had the problem at the time was the entrance of this virus, of this disease. Maybe it could be other thing, but we still have to consider that there is a chance in the same way that other things could have happened. And in order to solve that, we think it would be very fruitful if both parts here, not only one third-party professional, but I still believe that we could have one specialist for each one of the parts, and also one third party, so we have a committee that's going to analyze all the situations, not only the Olympics and the committee, but the other competitions that we participated. And also, if you want, of course, you can send your own veterinary to understand the disease of our horses and put your diagnosis on that. So we feel comfortable to share all the information that we have in the matter. And for now, that's it, and we hope you do so we can find this good solution.
So may I ask you, I would like to know a little bit more about this disease you have said, this possibility of diseases due to this medicine you have said in Cuba. Could you talk a little bit more about that situation, the effects?
Yes.
Please.
Actually, we had one specific vaccine, or medicine, that used to cover a specific thing, and we couldn't put all the vaccinations before the competition. So at this time, we don't know exactly much more about the disease to say, okay, this vaccine is about this disease or not. So it's something new to the medicine as well, veterinary medicine. So we're trying to study, to have more studies on that. And all the information, as the details of the report, will help us to have insights of what may have caused this disease.
Okay, thank you for your clarification. You have said about the composition of research, with each one having a specialist. So what do you think about this proposal?
Well, we really think it's reasonable. I would just like to talk about some points before.
Sure.
I spoke with my counsel, and yes, there is the possibility of this horse got sick in Brazil. We need to consider that, but like I said, we need to show you that no other horse who has participated in the Olympic got sick or even died, and we had almost 300 horses at the competition. That's something we need to consider. And like I said, I followed all the rules established by the Federación Equestre. We set the reports, we read them. We are not specialists, but it's a conclusive report. We can show you them. We believe you have access to it, and we even followed, considering that the games took place in Brazil. We followed the rules from the Ministry of Agriculture from Brazil, and we also believe you did. So you spoke about vaccines. Like I said, I'm not a specialist, but I truly believe that if that vaccine was really necessary, you couldn't enter in the national in the Brazil without it. So can you clarify this point for us?
May I add something to what he said? I would like to know that, considering the possibility that the horse got sick in Brazil, and now we know this information about the vaccines, is there any way, do you know why these vaccines weren't available for you? Is there anyone we could look for in order to make such entity responsible for this disease? Because we understand that in order to take part of the games, yes, we're talking about past over and over again, but it is an important issue here. We need to know what happened exactly, and if there is a connection between the vaccines and the sickness. Okay?
Okay. So let me say this again. So I'm not. When you say that, okay, maybe you could just not participate in the competition, maybe make this look like a simple decision. I like to make clear here that it's not so easy like that. It's really difficult. I'm talking about a country that lives off that. So it was a really hard decision to knowing that one specific vaccine were not in our hands before the games, to still participate because we had all the reports telling that everything was okay. And for me, and I'm trying to look forward, because as I mentioned before, we have the chance that could be there and it could be in any other place, and I'm pretty sure that all 5 of us here wouldn't find exactly what happened and where it's coming from right now. So that's why we are trying to find fair criteria to understand later what happened, and more to work together and try to find the solutions.
So we are willing to work with you to get a solution. I'm sorry if I did not express myself clearly. I did not want to mention that it would be easy for you to not to participate in the Olympics. What I said was you had obligations like we did to make all the conditions, like with the Ministry of Agriculture. We have even made a biosecurity plan. We can give you, this is a public document, for you to search for the causes of this disease. And I was not trying to say that it was easy not to participate, just this specific point that you had obligations, and if you didn't cover that, you wouldn't be able to enter in Brazil. That's what I said.
So you had said something about the release of new information. Could you speak a little bit more about that?
Yes, it was a condition. We had to release a biosecurity plan to make things happen, stating that the conditions were met and all the route the horses would take from the airport to the competing venue. That's all in the biosecurity plan. We can give you this document. It's public, like I said. And we are trying to look forward here. We have even talked about costs during our break here to get a solution. But what do you propose here? How can we help you?
Well, Leonardo and Francisco, thank you very much for sharing information. I think in terms of our side, it is very important that you acknowledge that there is this possibility. That's the reason why my client felt assured that he could share the information about the vaccines. And I would like to stress that we're in a safe environment, and that we cannot judge what happened back then. We need only to find a way to get past that, because at that point, my client had an assurance that everything was safe. So that's why he made that decision of going to the Olympic Games. But I'm glad you mentioned it. I think Gabriel can talk about the specifics of compensation, because we really want to look forward and to get our horses back to health. Okay.
Yes, Leonardo, actually I do believe that we're talking too much about us, and I understand about you as well. Why you are here today? What is important to you on this table? Because I'm not understanding exactly. Because basically the Olympics ended 6 months ago. You told me that you want to solve the problems after the Olympics as well. But apparently we're talking about a country that has his own problems, and for some reason you are here today with us. I would like to understand your interest here today. Why you are here?
Gabriel, before passing the microphone to my client, I would like to show you that we are here because the Olympic movement is something way bigger than everyone in this room. We really want to make you feel safe. We really want to, as previously mentioned by Francisco, unite peoples and we do believe you are going through a hard time, and we have no reason to want Ipica not to participate in the other events. We really need you to be there. We know that you have the tradition and you have won so many medals is very important. So please do not see as if we are not willing to cooperate with you. We just need to follow some measures, considering we are an entity composed from many bodies. We have the IOC, the federations which organize each modality, and we have the organizing committee, we have the committees from each country. We cannot take decisions regardless this whole structure. So that's why we need to go on in the between the problem and between the relationship there was, and to understand it better.
So you asked me why we are here. The main reason we are here is to assure that you're going to participate in the other games. We recognize your importance, and the other point is that we have an interest here, that you, like you said in the beginning, you have a debt to pay with us, to pay for us, and that's why you're here. You're trying to make everything together and solve that all, so we can reestablish or continue a good relationship.
Okay, so as I understand, you like to keep this relationship in a better way, and would like to look forward to a solution, to get together, and as the Olympic situation is a joint force of various peoples and various institutes, you are here because you like to keep this participation of Ipica in the Olympic Games. And in this situation, I'd like to ask you, what do you think it would be great for you, and for both parties that might attend the interests, to work on based on the solution? What do you propose it would be great for both of you as a solution to that? What is the idea? Would you have an idea under that?
Well, do you mind if I start?
Not at all.
Well, like I said, our main interest is you to participate in the next Olympic Games. Like I said too, we provided all the documents you need, all the measures we needed to. So would you be able to provide us all the documents you needed to enter in Brazil? The international visa for your horses, the vaccines they took. Could you give us this? Because if we really believe that we are not responsible for what happened to your horses, we took all the measures we needed. But if we need to take some responsibility here, we will need you to cooperate and give us your part of this aspect.
Well, he said documents. I think that's my cue to jump in. But yeah, we can give you access to all the documents. But the real question here is, why is it important to you? What is behind that position to ask for documents?
Actually, your presence as well, because in the way that you say, I'm trying to understand why this is important to you, because definitely
Your participation?
yes, because definitely this will help us to find a good solution. Because in the way you said to me that you believe that you don't have any responsibility, and sorry, I think it's not a good word to say responsibility. Also, it was a collaborative environment, it still is, but this kind of word and responsibility, I don't know, I think I don't like it at all. But basically you're telling me that you don't have any participation on this, and you want me on the next competition. So why is this important to you? Because as far as I see, okay, maybe that's not exactly your thing.
Just to clarify, Leonardo and Francisco, since you asked, we're trying to understand why it's important to have access to those documents, because it seems to us that it's a bit contradictory that you want us to participate and you keep bringing aspects of the past, documents. For us, we thought we were more of a perspective to move forward, and I think that's the reason why we're asking that. So, please.
first of all, we have put relationship as one of the aspects in the agenda. So we, as you said in the beginning, you don't even know if you will be able to join us in the next Olympic Games because there is the whole structure of our country. We have this posture. We want all the countries. We couldn't see a country going down and having its horses and the whole economy, as you mentioned, ruined. That's why we're here. We want to have you with us. But in order to assume any type of liability, if you feel more comfortable with this term, it is a more technical term.
It gets worse actually, but that's okay. We can move on.
Okay. Someone to blame, I don't know. I don't see any way to put it in other words. But we have to have clear evidence. We cannot take decisions without considering what really happened in the games. So that is why that is why we keep going forward in order to know what happened.
Okay, and that's important. We still are going on this. You told us that, okay, you need us on the next competition. Sorry to still keeping in your interest because they're important to us. If, for example, if we're not going to participate in the next Olympics, how this could affect the Olympic Games? It's about your image, it's about revenue, reputation, what you're talking about here, just to understand more so we can find a proper solution.
Do you believe it would be more interesting for you to discuss about the situations before in a private meeting? In order to facilitate to clarify a few situations?
I really believe we are having a successful and a positive conversation, but I don't understand why we keep saying why it would be negative for us for not to participate, because it would be negative for it because, well, I believe you are having difficult to accept that we are here in good faith and we want you to participate as we want all other countries. That is our interest here. If one of our countries is not taking part, and if it happens in a domino effect, we do not have the Olympic Games anymore. So it is our main interest, all countries to take part.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you, Camila. I think what Gabriel, my client, was trying to explain is that we need to understand ways, because we really want to collaborate and also better understand your interests. We know that the Olympic cycle and the Olympic Games are very important for the International Olympic Committee, and it is for us too, but we need to have a better understanding on how to make that work, because we're out of options here. Our country, as he said, is a nation at risk at this point. So we need to better understand that.
So, may I?
Sure.
During the break I had with Francisco, we started thinking, how could we help you? So, please bear in mind, we are a non-profit organization, so we had issues regarding money. Considering even that we haven't received the amount we have established before, but we started brainstorming how could we help to make these horses get what they need and to help Ipica to reestablish its economy and everything. And we thought maybe we could organize a crowdfunding, and we could invite all the equestrian community in order to help us to get money for Ipica. We even thought we could have an ambassador to have this image more strong, and feel free to suggest an ambassador. And it is one solution we thought it would be very helpful, and we feel comfortable to address. We would like to know what you think about it.
So please.
Okay, I'd like first just to give you dimensions of how much money we're talking about. You think that's okay? May I use the board just for a second?
Are you comfortable with that?
Sure.
Okay.
So please.
I'd like to use again. So I'm not good with drawings, but I'll try my best. This point here is what is our debt with you. We're talking about $2,200,000. $22,000, sorry. And when we're talking about the horses and how they are valuable, it's not so difficult to find at Google that they are around 5 million euros. And even though you are an NGO, I'm still using research because Google is our what we can use. We're talking about, I can't do this in a proper scale.
Maybe the size of the sun, perhaps.
Yes, maybe the sum, but it's around $9 billion of your revenue with marketing, maybe in the best Olympics. Just have an idea so we can talk a little bit more precisely with numbers, and I think that could be helpful for us.
Okay, so this is a situation that you might that you are not comfortable.
Yes, and what we're trying to discuss, I really think that the idea was really good, crowdfunding, for example, but I truly believe that crowdfunding would help with the 22K. It will be tough to replace a horse for 5 million euros with crowdfunding, but I still like it, and also the image as well. What we're trying to understand here is if you could help us with our horses, with the treatment and everything, to make us to be part of the next Olympics. And when we're talking about the treatments and everything, it's pretty much something between the 22K and between the 5 million. Of course, it's less than millions. It's not so expensive, the treatment. But somehow we need this help because we don't have more budget from our country. We have our reputation at risk, and I'm not sure if we're going to be here in the next years. So we still need the help from the big guys from this room here to recover our most valuable assets and to make our country possible to be part of the next Olympics.
So I'd like to ask you before we move on, I'd like to ask you, do you have any idea of how could we do this? Any idea can be a great idea.
Yes, basically we're talking about first the debt that we have, and I truly believe that would be reasonable so we could pay you later. We're not running for this money, but actually we don't have this now. Actually, there's not an option, not because we don't want, because we don't have. And second, we can work in two things. First, guarantee that the next, all the horses are going to be healthy. And second, we could work on the horses that die. And third, discovering what make these horses sick to guarantee that no other horse gonna be. And as you mentioned about fair criteria and how to understand what happened, we're totally able to make, how do you say, conditional deals, something like this, to understand exactly what happened. I think you could help me more.
That's Mercurian. He's talking about contracts for the clients in the table. But I think that those are the main issues. And I think for one of them, Leonardo and Camila, Francisco, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think we already have an agreement on an additional report with an expert committee with parties that are appointed by everyone involved.
This is a compass delay?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think
that's
that's
our first agreement.
Yeah, and now the other aspects, I think it's really important, as Gabriel said, to discuss vaccines, campaigns, and treatment for because we had horses that died, but we also have horses that are currently sick. So those are the things that Gabriel, my client, is very interested in moving forward in this competition.
And also, as you said, you did not just consider crowdfunding. You thought it was an interesting idea?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you mentioned the big guys. I don't know if we're talking about us, but I believe we are all the big guys. We are dealing with a common point, and we are trying to move forward. Well, my counsel can speak better about the crowdfunding. She's more upfront about that. But I have to say that, like we established first, you participated in other competitions. If it's our, sorry for the word, but responsibility, you may suggest another if you want to, but if it's our responsibility to afford these treatments and these vaccines, we would do it. But we truly believe it's not our responsibility because we took all the measures. And we are also saying that we can provide you all the documents attesting that. And that's why we asked from your part, once we are sharing the documents, if you could share with us the documents saying that you took the measures too, and you fulfilled them all. And do you want to? Yes, of course.
I would just like to add something regarding your drawings. I don't understand because yes, the committee gets so much money. We, as I explained before, there is many entities above us, and you mentioned 9 billion, and yes, there is so much money, but as a non-profit organization, we distribute these costs to all modalities. The equestrian sports have a considerable part in this distribution, and we brought the crowdfunding idea in order to help us to get solutions. So I believe that it is not discussable to bring more money from the IOC, and that is why we started thinking about where to get more money. And you requested us to guarantee the sick horses will be health and everything, but there is not something we can predict. We are willing to discuss anything that could make you feel more comfortable, but we cannot assume, we cannot take any more responsibility than we already have if the horse had contracted disease in the Olympic Games.
Okay.
So as you said, this would be actually a collaborative way of sharing information, sharing documents. Both sides would collaborate with documents.
Yes.
Yes, just to make a point, we don't have more documents, but you feel free, everything that's in my hands to do, you're going to do it, and we can share with you, there's no problem. And as you mentioned, financial is somehow is important to you, and you mentioned that you don't want to put more money from the community on this. I would like to understand why. Just to understand why you're saying that you cannot put more money on this situation.
Well, the main point here is that we are a non-profit organization. We distribute all the money, like Camila just said, and we cannot take this as our responsibility. We cannot pay you that easily, sorry to say it in this way. We need something concrete to say that we are responsible and we need to pay. And if this is the case, we will pay. You may be comfortable with that. We are just considering that no other horse got sick. You have participated in other competitions, and we are trying to get other solutions to solve this faster.
It's good, okay. And actually now, the way we're walking, I think we'd like to do a caucus.
Sure.
I think it will be fruitful to have this private conversation with you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you to say me if you're comfortable.
May
with
I
that
add
before.
just a little information regarding what Francisco said? You have answered very fast. We really call the present mediation session because we believe we can get to solutions which does not involve money. We are here to brainstorm ideas and to brainstorm options, and that's why we want you to help us. And you mentioned that you were willing to pay the debit, but it's not a possibility right now. It is very nice to hear it because we have thought during our break that it was a possibility as well. We thought about installments, or maybe we could agree on other exchange from from IBICA and the committee. But please be creative and help us to find solutions here, because that is really what we want. Thank you.
Thank you. I may ask you to leave this room, and after we're finished, you will have your own private caucus.
For how long?
Around 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, just a quick proposal before.
Are you comfortable before that?
No, you just, I'm sorry to interrupt you that way, but I see that we have 30 minutes left, and I think two caucus 10 minutes would leave not much
Would you like
time
to
to,
do a
it
smaller
could be
time?
perhaps 5 minutes.
This is a time limit. You can work it in a smaller time. Don't worry.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes, we agree with that.
I'm sorry for doing that, but I noticed the time.
It's like this. You can stay. You can stay. You can stay.
So, thank you for requesting this caucus. I believe there is some information I'd like to share privately. In here, we also have this confidentiality situation, so anything you'd like to tell me, but I believe during the session.
Okay. So, Leonardo, I don't know, you remember that I said about the environment that was collaborative and everything?
Yes.
And now I'm not feeling so comfortable, even though I like I like the ideas of different ways to solve the problem. They still keep saying about, I want your documents, I see who was the responsibility, I want to understand who did this, and we're not, and that was a tricky, it was hard to hear that. We're not going to give you money easily. It looks like I'm here to take advantage of them, and that's not the case. I just want to be able to compete with my horses. That's everything that I want. And to save them, to make them healthy, we need money. And we were talking about to say, okay, let's try to focus on the solution. Maybe you are a big organization, you have a positive cash flow, you can afford to that. And after that, with the reports, we can understand how this distribution of the cost is going to happen. So our horses can't wait these reports, can't wait these discussions. And I need your help to show them that we are trying to do this, and we're not trying to find guilty ones here responsible, and that we do not want to take easily money of them, because definitely that's not why we came here today.
So, like to look for a solution into this situation of uncertainty. You're not interested on finding what is the responsibility. You would like to keep assured that you have a minimal structure to keep your horses competing to participate.
Yes.
Okay. And how do you believe? Do you have an idea of how to maybe work it out? Have a proposal?
Yes, of course. Basically, what I'm thinking that they are so big and they have so many contacts, network around the world. We could work with them to talk with the sponsors to understand, to make kind of arrangement. Actually, we could do this opportunity, look at this problem as an opportunity and make a marketing strategy. Because, for example, imagine that we make a kind of movie or something that the COI, the IOC, and the IBICA are working together with the sponsors to save the horses and make the flame, the Olympic flame, still alive. I think that could be something that would generate revenue for us, would be awesome, and they do not have to spend any money, at least from the beginning. And I think maybe if they have some money to help us, we're not saying that they are going to give. It's a kind of land, and then after the reports and everything, we understand exactly how we're gonna, as they say, we can divide this participation
So,
of
as a
this.
publicitary action in
Yes.
order to raise money for them.
Yes.
What it would be your best scenario? So,
My best scenario is first we have our public image with the desired value. So we're gonna show the world that we're taking care of the horses, and the IOC is helping us on that. And second, we are in fact doing that. We are making the horses healthy. We still have a problem with the horses that died, but we're focused on what the horses that we can save now.
That.
Yes.
Okay, anything more to add?
No, I think as Gabriel well explained, I think we've made some positive agreements already, but we need to focus on that aspect that we as a country. I think my client was expressing that we perhaps felt a little bit uncomfortable with the way the things were framed, in that we were simply asking for money. But our main interest here, I think it's a common interest. We're just trying to find a way to reach that goal.
Okay, would you like me to release this proposal?
Yeah, I think my client.
Actually, you could say that we are ready to talk about this, but just to make the things faster, we're talking to you to release that today.
Okay. I'd like to add, please, Daniel.
No, that's exactly what Gabriel said. I think you can release that we have an option, and then Gabriel can provide the detail and then specifics. I think after their caucus, because I believe they should have the opportunity to also talk to you.
I can release this during their caucus if you like to.
Okay.
It's okay, Gabriel?
Yes.
Then it's perfect.
Okay, so thank you for releasing this information. Thanks for sharing. I may ask you to leave as I will have the contact session.
Yes,
That's okay.
I'll inform them to come back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's wait for them to get back, then I'm gonna go there. Just should announce to everyone that the judges will leave, that they should stay, and the judges will come back. You can take it back. And then we'll come back.
Thanks for waiting. Now we're going to have our other session. We have in this session also some confidentiality, so anything we said in here also does not extend to the joint session, so we share any information. Before I hear that what you are willing to say me, I would like to tell you that the Daniel and Gabriel have given me the freedom to talk about a proposal they had, about an idea they had. Okay, as they are saying, they would like to overcome the situation in order to guarantee the safety of their horses right now. They are willing to overcome the situation that happened in the past. And in order to ensure this health of these horses, they have proposed that you join forces to work with their sponsors in order to raise money to keep the possibility of maintaining their horses' health in this situation. So I'd like to hear your thoughts about that and to hear what you have to tell me.
I am just a little bit confused because why did they deny the possibility of the crowdfunding? Because we understand the sponsors have much money, but they already contribute with a lot, and we do believe the community would feel very glad contributing to this cause. Is there any reason for them to keep it private and they don't want to spread the possibility of this crowdfunding?
Actually, they did not accept nor deny. They thought it was interesting, just to clarify.
So, well, this is confidential, what I'm trying,
Sure.
what I will say here. One day before the games, the public health surveillance from Brazil issued a report stating that the athletes could be comfortable with the transportation of the horses from the airport to the competing venue. And we discovered that the people involved in this report will be charged about corruption, but we didn't want to bring this point to the table because we didn't want them to be confused once we have to consider that no other of the almost 300 horses that have been participating in the Olympic Games got sick. We don't want them to confuse the topics here, So we need them to make us feel secure that this disease was not, but they didn't got sick in the other competitions they got. They didn't brought us solutions or objective terms or documents attesting that the horses didn't got sick in the other competitions. If we are responsible for that, we will afford. It's fair, like we did in the past meetings. We try to reach what our limits to make them secure and happy and participating in the Olympic Games. So we need them to give us something that can make us feel secure that we are responsible for that. So we didn't want to bring this point because even though they are related to corruption, there is nothing concrete, and what we have concrete is that no other horse got sick. So.
And in addition to what Francisco said, our main concern in bringing this information to the table is that we cannot mess the roles in this situation. There's rumors about the sanitary authority which could be charged for corruption. They have nothing to do with the IOC itself. So that is one of the reasons why we believe it would be kind of messy to bring it. But we are indeed concerned about these rumors, and we would like to confirm the reason why these horses were sick before taking any move in regards to the issue of corruption.
Okay.
And another point is, even though we got this matter, we are trying to give them what they seem to be asking. That is money to treat the horses. We are proposing this crowdfunding. We want them to collaborate and to help us making this happen. If the money really is an issue, like we are looking, we can help them with that.
Okay, you have said about crowdfunding, but you have not said about their proposal about the joint forces with the sponsorship. Is it a possibility for you?
No, it's better if Camila talk about this because she had mentioned it.
Well, I do see that we have more ways to control the possibility of a crowdfunding than we have in talking to our sponsors. We could establish some clauses and we could go on the idea of the crowdfunding, and the sponsor's idea would not depend in any way on us. So yes, we can talk to them, it wouldn't be a problem, but and I do want to believe that they would feel the same way as we do and they would want to collaborate, but it is not on our hands. We cannot have an effective answer here regarding the sponsors. We will talk to them if it is what we agree here.
Okay. So as we have actually enough time for this private session, I'd like to finalize, ask if there is any information you would like me to talk about externally about this crowdfunding or this consideration of the proposal of joint forces or a new discussion over that.
This consideration about joint forces and the crowdfunding, we can discuss with them again. We are able to do that. We just don't want you to tell them about the corruption history. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So I'd like to ask.
Do you want me to call them?
I'm going to call them. Just a little moment. Thank you. Thank you for waiting. And now we're going back to our joint session. So we have talked privately about some situations, about some proposals. When I come to that, also you have spoken about the proposal of the crowdfunding and about the first initial proposal of the joint work. that. So I would like you to share your thoughts about that, please.
Yes, of course. Leonardo shared with us that you thought it would be reasonable to speak with our sponsors to provide money to the treatment of your horses. I truly believe we can put our best efforts to do that, since we are trying to help you and move forward like we did in the past meetings. But we also think that, and that's why we proposed this first, that the crowdfunding would be more profitable for you. What do you think of doing the crowdfunding if it's not working? Even considering that we will speak with our sponsors as soon as we can, but what do you think of doing this crowdfunding? We can start, I don't know, in 2 days, I believe.
As an initial starting point.
Yes,
Measure.
I have told Leonardo it is more, we are more able to move with the crowdfunding idea than we are in the idea of talking to the sponsors. We cannot guarantee they will feel the same way we do with your situation, and we certainly will talk to them, but the crowdfunding, it is more tangible for us.
Okay.
So think about that.
It's really good. Can I explain something on the board with this idea? I think would be fruitful.
Yes, of course.
I try to be fast. So, I think the crowdfund is really good, and it has a potential to help us, especially with this amount of money, maybe a little bit more. And so talking about the sponsors, I don't need a guarantee that you're going to receive the money. Actually, I just need your help, and that's what we're talking about. When you see the 9 billion revenue, we're talking about marketing, and that's basically the power that you have with the companies. So what we are trying to propose is that we're going to make a road show to make a pitch for the companies to be part of the reconstruction of Ipica's team. What we are trying to say is we're going to take this problem and look at this opportunity, and we can work with movies, documentary. We can make something with that, because when we are working on the health of the horses, we could make a move and help use this as marketing. So the road show, we are going to different companies with you. So we are going to develop this project together, and then we are going to these companies to look for funding for this marketing strategy and the health of the horses. We think this would help us because we do not have this money right now. Would help you because you cannot put more money on this right now, and also our image would be very supported of this solution and your image. And you do this together with the crowdfunding to look for our debt. I think going to be a possible solution.
What do you think about that?
We are talking about not only about your debt, but we are talking about the health of your horses. I thought it was a good idea, and I'm trying to cooperate. I had another idea here. What do you think about getting some people from, we can do this as an act from the IOC and IPICA together. What do you think about if we got some people from our entity inside this organization? So once you had all the money you needed to treat your horses, all the rest would be directed to all other entities or veterinary hospitals. I believe this would be a good program for both of us.
Yes, that's amazing.
It's a greater project.
Yes.
We can take this to FEI as well, as all of us know. The Federación Equestre Internacional. As all of us know, they are very powerful, so they can help us too.
That's amazing. Actually, I know a lot of good teachers here in Brazil, in different universities like Mackenzie, a lot of other universities, that they could be part of this and make this knowledge spread to the whole world of veterinary medicine. I think that's going to be a great idea.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
So I believe we have come to an agreement on this situation. Are you comfortable? Or like to analyze any other situation during this topic? I'm just going to go back to topic.
I think, I'm sorry, you're about to speak.
I don't mean to sound in any way impolite, but we still have to consider the sickness of your horses and the possibility of they got sick during the Olympic Games. So, do you believe there's any way we could issue another report, as we said before, a report with the detailed information, how they got sick and everything, the symptoms and...
Yeah, I think it's something that I believe that we had already agreed on.
Yes, we have agreed on the emission of a new report, but especially from each part.
I think we can perhaps later work on the draft of the contract and how we're going to make this span of work, but I think it's agreed on, definitely.
And on this case, I think would be much more looking into the causes to guarantee that this won't happen again, because basically all the problem and the consequences desired from this, we're going to solve with all these solutions that we developed today.
Yes, and especially because I heard Brazil is not doing so well after the Olympics, so we don't want them to have another problem as in like horse sickness. So it's good that we take that out off the table.
So
yes,
your interests coincide at this point.
Yes, I cannot answer from Brazil, but I can assure you that everything we learned will be used in the other editions of the games, and it will be very helpful for us to improve every time.
And I have a question. I'm sorry if I'm brainstorming too much. Sorry, but we are trying. Okay, we are trying to think about options to make the sport greater than already is. And maybe you should consider the next Olympics. On the opening ceremony, we can put the last person with the flame in a horse. So it would be great, and then we're gonna make more value and more image for our sport. I think it would be awesome, and not Ithaca, but all countries involved are gonna love it.
Equestrian sports.
What do you think about that?
Well, it would be nice. I'm not a specialist on marketing, so we had to analyze this idea, but we can consider that. It would be nice, I believe.
Yes, and Gabriel thought about it because it would be a nice tribute for the horses that died. Because as we said early on, they're athletes. They're basically like the competitors. So it's as if our competitors died after the Olympics. So it would be a nice tribute if you guys are okay with that.
Yes, we can discuss. It could be one of the terms to be discussed in the future. And I would just like to thank you, Gabriel, because I could really see that you changed your posture here. I see at the beginning I thought you were in pain and you couldn't see a future, and now I see you were much more happy, and I do believe the solutions we found here will help you. And
Yes, actually,
Ithaca,
both of you have accomplished such great results by discussing them, by reestablishing your communication, and by proposing some creative ideas for us to resolve the situation.
Actually, I was really happy. It's true, in the beginning I was kind of afraid. It's not easy to come to the table with 3 horses that are dead and 3 horses dying. So sorry for the emotional thing in the beginning, but now I'm really happy with everything that we agreed, and I'm really comfortable and optimistic with our future vision. What do you think, Daniel?
Gabriel, completely agree. I'm very happy to know that this mediation worked for both parties, and I think it seemed that it worked for you too, as the common interests that we identified early on. I think we tackled them in a positive way, and I think Leonardo would be very helpful if you could help us with, if Camila, if you're okay with it, with a brief summary of what we accomplished and how we're going to move forward now.
You have accomplished actually not only establishing your communication, but overcoming the situations that we had in the past. So we have actually accomplished some great proposals with some results. We have the emission of a new report. We have the production of a roadshow with people from your entity, people also from Ithaca, a joint proposal in order also to put this money question on discussion, but also looking at a greater good to help other entities and other situations that may be in conflicts outside of this. And we also have discussed and agreed, actually proposed and talked about the presence of a horse on the initial presentation.
Yeah.
So these are great accomplishments.
I have a suggestion here.
Sure.
Would you feel comfortable if Leonardo sends us the bullet points as he already have read, and we could draft the first version of this agreement and maybe deliver it to you in order for you to make some commentaries. If you want to be the first to draft, there is no problem for us as well, as long as
Comfortable with that?
we exchange them.
Yes, of course. I think we can perhaps work on, as he was explaining, we use Google a lot. We perhaps can use Google Docs and we can share simultaneously. So that would be an option also. And I think that's pretty much it regarding the draft specifically. Gabriel, do you have something to add?
Please, the next meeting, let's schedule with Rio de Janeiro. I'm missing so much that place. And if it's possible, of course, if you feel comfortable with that.
Yes, we can discuss this point too.
Okay, so I believe that we have come to great accomplishments here today, and we are at the end of our session. And as we come to a lot of agreements in here, I'm going to write down these agreements and pass you the document informing about these agreements for you to sign, to be okay with that. And lastly, I would like to thank you for all your collaboration. You have shown that you were able to listen to each other, to understand each other, to overcome your difficulties, and to achieve great results. So, this is the end of this session of today, I'd like to thank you.
I would also
for
like
being
to
here
thank you.
today.
Thank you all. Thank you for your collaborative posture you took in this meeting and for the creative solutions. And you don't need to be sorry about your emotional speech in the beginning. I really got touched. So we are happy that we can agree with all the topics we discussed.
That's perfect. I'm pretty sure that all the mediations should be like that. I'm very glad to see all of this. Thank you for all of your time here. Of course, we have to pay the fees as well, but thank you for all this time.
Thank you
I
for
would
your
also like to
participation
thank you all.
today. Thank you.